tonight's interview. Governor Greg Abbott joining us live once again on Channel 2 News at 5.
Governor, thank you for joining us. Just a few hours ago, you announced plans for an executive order that you plan to introduce next week on how Texas businesses will begin to reopen. Now, I realize it hasn't been announced just yet, but will you give our viewers a sense of how that might work?
Sure. Listen, the way this is working is that for several weeks now, I remain in contact with the president, the vice president, with their team that's going to be working on the national strategy to begin the process of reopening business. And so what we must do is we must articulate the pathway of how we go about this process. In doing so, making sure that people are going to be safe, making sure that we do not reignite the same spread of coronavirus by everybody rushing the gates automatically. I know people in Houston as well as across the entire state of Texas want to get back to work. Texas is the #1 state in the United States for doing business, and we will lead the way. However, the best way to do it is by implementing certain strategies that will prevent the spread of the coronavirus. One last thing, Chris, and that is the only way we can begin this process is if everyone continues making sure we slow the spread of the coronavirus. You're still seeing growth of more coronavirus cases in Harris County. We all need to continue to work together to slow the spread. Stay at home.
Yeah, it's been such a financial hardship for so many families. We know the president also announced a similar measure today with a group of leaders focusing on reopening parts of the country. Any timeline at all for our state?
We will begin to articulate that timeline next week as we talk about the structure of our approach about how we're going to handle this. We want to make sure Texas is in the lead on opening the state up for business, but also that we remain in the lead by making sure we have strategies that will prevent the spread of the coronavirus.
Governor, just this week, Harris County Judge Lena Hidalgo closed all of Harris County's parks. Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner did the exact same thing 24 hours later by closing all the city parks. Is there anything that you can be doing differently at the state level to take away what may be some confusion among residents here at the local level?
Well, obviously, the local officials are in charge of the local parks, so you'll know what I did at the state level was to close state parks. And the reason why we did this, and we didn't do it in collaboration, but the reason why we did this is because we're all focused on the same thing, and that is we're in the last few crucial weeks in April where we need to do everything we can to slow the spread of the coronavirus. And there could be a potential large gathering of people over this Easter weekend in parks that could lead to an expansion of the spread as opposed to a reduction in the spread. And so I think there were smart strategies by a local government as well as the state government to make sure we continue this because of the first thing you talked about. Probably more than anything else for people in Houston is they want to get back to work. We want them to get back to work. To achieve that goal, we must continue for a few more weeks to do everything possible to slow the spread of the coronavirus.
Governor Greg Abbott, we know you are a busy man, and we appreciate your time here this afternoon at 5 o'clock. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Chris.